Welcome to World Environment Day. My name is Mal Smith and I work for a local environmental organisation on the Sunshine Coast called ECOllaboration. My role within the organisation is a project manager looking after the source water protection of the Maroochy catchment. I'd like to acknowledge the Jinnaburra and Cubby Cubby nations of this land, whose eldership and knowledge we've gleaned so much from and whose stewardship we're so appreciative of. And I'd also like to acknowledge National Parks and Wildlife Service and Sunshine Coast Council for maintaining some of our core habitat. I want to speak to you a little bit about biodiversity today, and there's so many things we can do in this region, whether you have a lot of land or a little, and whether you're young or old. We're so fortunate to have one of the most biodiverse hotspots in Australia, with over 75 regional ecosystems ranging from tidal mangroves to beautiful coastlines and beaches, and granite outcrops like Glasshouse Mountains and Mount Coolum and Mount Emu, through the heathlands, and then we've got the hinterlands and some of the most amazing subtropical rainforests in Australia. They're worth protecting, they're worth connecting with each other, and they're worth managing. And some of the ways you can do that, if you have a large tract of land over a hectare, you can think about possibly engaging with the Queensland Government through their nature reserves program, where you can write a covenant with them so that it's protected for generations. Another way to do that is through Sunshine Coast Council with a voluntary conservation agreement. That way it's protected in legislation as well. These I guess have certain things that they've got to meet, certain criteria, whether you're close to a national park and your land is quite strategic for connecting up, or whether you're along a creek line. There's other things you can do though. You can join Habitat for Wildlife, where you can receive some funds and some training and some knowledge to protect habitat on your block. If you don't have a large tract of land, there's also habitat gardens that you can create. As you can see behind me, we've created a little habitat box here that's sitting underneath a local pandanus tree. You can create little native gardens that have habitat for butterflies and birds and reptiles. You can start by removing some of your noxious weeds on your property and making sure that there's no listed weeds. You can report any listed weeds that you see to the Department of Agriculture and Fisheries. And you can look at replacing some of those noxious weeds by some critically endangered species. And we've got a lot of those in the region, 57 plants critically endangered, including the Richmond birdwing butterfly vine that's host to the beautiful birdwing butterfly. So have a think about some of the things you might be able to engage in, and even if it's not on your property, you can volunteer for Maroochy Water Watch, where you're pulling trash out of the waterways. You can volunteer for a local land care group where you're repairing and restoring a creek line in your local area. You can get engaged in so many ways through your local council and through your local nurseries, who'll be able to help you out as well. So enjoy the day and get out there and start protecting.